Hey everybody, welcome back. Jordan here. Today we're going to be completely transforming this huge section of the Lego City, which includes the train yard. The first thing that we're going to be doing is actually bringing all of these trains out of the train yard and clearing this space. We've got a lot of work to do today and we're going to be covering a lot of changes, so make sure you stay tuned in this Lego City update. Let's get right to it. So now we've got trains stretching as far as the eye can see here in the Lego City. These definitely need some more space, as here in the Lego City there's only one continuous circuit in which they could go on, right? So it's good that we're going to be bringing them out of the train yard. That is now empty. Look at all that train track. Wow, that's a big space in the Lego City. Step 2 involves removing all of these vehicles and also removing all of this train track here in the train yard to make way for these huge changes. We've moved all the vehicles over here now in the main city core. And check out how much train track we have here. 1 bin. 2 bins, 3 bins, 4, 5, 6, full of train track. And we still got to remove all this train track here, but now there's no vehicles here. And we've also removed all of that train track and train yard. The next thing we have to do is move the Ninjago platform and sort of figure out how exactly we're going to position that platform over there. And while I'm doing that, the wife is going to be working on clearing all of this road plate here in the residential section, as that all has to move as well. So Jose and I have a long day ahead of us here, but it's definitely a lot of fun. I love Lego cities for this reason. Just sort of shifting things around, trying different layouts, reinventing the wheel constantly. It's just an absolute blast. So can't wait to continue progressing here in the Lego room with these huge changes. So after some very positive and strategic brainstorming, I've actually created a much smaller platform, and it's not for the Ninjago buildings. Okay, so not 1, but 2 days has passed since we filmed our last clip here in this video, and we have completely transformed the entire city. That includes not the amusement park, but the downtown core, the residential buildings, where the train yard used to be, where the campground used to be, and also the Ninjago platform, in which actually isn't on a platform. Believe it or not, the campground is on a platform. Isn't that weird? Yeah, it's a little bit weird thinking about that. But I'm going to show you all the different Lego City changes that we made right now, and it's all going to make sense. And I think that this is officially the best Lego City layout that we have ever had. And Jose and I are really excited to show you what we've done and what plans we have moving forward into the future. So let's get right to it, because once again, there's lots to cover. So one thing I've done is actually spaced out the trains here on the city line, which could be operational. I just don't think I could coordinate all of those different trains moving at one time. That would be a little bit ridiculous. Also, I placed one vehicle, very suiting. Yes, perfect. But actually, the Monster Fighters Haunted House has moved here into the downtown core, and this is the new layout for the downtown core, where we're going to start our review of the city. So we've got a big change here, because you know what used to be right here was Diagon Alley. We actually removed Diagon Alley and slid everything over, and that made a whole nother block over here, where we've put the Lego factory facing right forward here, which is a mock of mine that still needs to be worked on. And hopefully moving it here right front and center is going to get me to work on that mock in the near future. Still down here, we've got the Grand Emporium, Assembly Square, and on the end of the street there, we have the Town Hall beside the Fire Brigade and also the Palace Cinema. Then right here we have another series of modular buildings. It looks great looking down the street. And what's cool is now we actually have 2 streets that you can look down. And on the end of this street is the Monster Fighter's haunted house, sitting beside the custom graveyard. Then we've got our townhouses right here beside our pet shop, which is actually 3 different pet shop modular buildings right there. And rather than putting a corner here, we actually put a 1.5 plate worth of buildings, which is both mocks. There's the Sanctum Sanctorum and also Peter Parker's apartment, which I constructed these 2 mocks using 2 of the Sanctum Sanctorum showdown sets. And what we've done is actually taken that block that's a 1.5 plate, and sorry, it's 2 plates, but these buildings equate to a 1.5 plate, and we've taken the additional 8 studs left over on either side to make a sidewalk, as these aren't really corner buildings. But we've sort of made it work, and that's actually Jose's idea, and she did a great job of paving that and making it blend in with the remaining sidewalk. And then you can see the new home of Diagon Alley right here. There's actually an interesting turn just around the corner right here, where you can see the graveyard, Ghostbusters HQ, and also the custom Lego store modular building, and that is beside the Sesame Street set. So there's actually quite a bit of space that's open here in the downtown core. There's a half base plate right there beside the Lego store. There's also 1 base plate right here. There is 1.5 base plates right here, a half base plate beside the Spring Lantern Festival, and then a bunch way back there beside the train yard. And what we're thinking of doing actually is making a new custom train station, which will accommodate both the regular standard train station and also platform 9 3/4. So we're thinking of making a new mock for that area. Now, this is where the big changes are. A lot different. The Ninjago platform used to be there, and we originally intended that we were going to put the Ninjago buildings on a platform. But as you can see, that hasn't happened. We've got all of our residential buildings right here, and also the Quickie Mart and the Simpsons house beside one another with a little propane bullet beside that. The custom police station is right here with parking in behind, and our gas station right here. This huge plot right here, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 open 48 by 48 gray base plates. That's how much space we gained when we removed that train yard. A lot of space. You can see I've placed all of these animals here. Eventually we're going to build a pretty big zoo right there. We've fenced off our little industrial area right here, a little boatyard. And it sits on some gray base plates. And then you can see I've actually started adding a rock edge using a bunch of merps to blend in the drop table that the Ninjago area sits on. Got a lot more slopes and stuff on order that we actually have to go pick up from a local brick linker to increase the complexity of that. And we'll be doing that really soon here. Now, Jose has actually transformed our gravel road. You can see the road slowly transitions into a gravel road and then makes its way into the campground here, which goes through here and hypothetically leaves the campground and goes that way. And this is where our campground is. Originally, I was thinking this is where the Ninjago platform would go, but the problem was that would be too tall and it would actually block the Bricksie sign. And check out who's right here. There's Grop. He's just hiding amongst the trees. So we decided, rather than putting the Ninjago platform there, we would put the campground there and then put the Ninjago not on a platform, but on a drop table. So everybody, this is what we are super hyped about here. This is awesome. We were able to fit the massive campground and put the Ninjago on a drop table in that same region, which just makes way more sense. Check it out. Isn't that awesome? Way better than having water up above ground level. That didn't really make sense. I mean, it would if it was a mountain, but it makes way more sense to have this at sea level. And this is a little drop area where we have the Ninjago buildings. And guess what? Right over here, we're going to add a little staircase going down. And there's going to be right here a dock. And we're going to build a dock just like this here. And then what we're going to do is have a little boat to transport all of the guests to the appropriate Ninjago attraction, which is the Ninjago City Gardens, Ninjago City Docks, or Ninjago City, or the temple. So I think once we get the dock in there and once we get the more detail added to these cliff edges here, it's going to look absolutely fantastic. So how does this drop table system work? Well, I use the IKEA Linman tables. You'll see that's a Linman running the full length. And that little mini platform that we used is actually right over here supporting this half of the campground. Just like that there. So rather than using a miniature table for the Ninjago area, we actually used it to change the elevation of the campground so that it matches the table. And then we were able to use that drop table for the Ninjago area. And then this is going to turn into a massive zoo. I can't say that we're going to allocate all of the space to a zoo, but Jose and I are trying to part source right now out of our own parts inventory and also out of Bricklink to try and come up with what kind of attractions and animal displays we should build in our zoo, and we're super excited about it. So without question, this Lego City rebuild defines the domino effect. You cannot change one thing without changing absolutely everything. It took us a long time and a lot of planning to think of a new layout here in the downtown core and to position all of these modular buildings correctly. And also it took us a long time to make all of these changes, in particular over here, and come up with the plan to actually remove the raised elevation table and convert it into a drop table. It took us a long time to figure that out. So Jose and I are absolutely thrilled about this new layout here. It's amazing. I think it's the best Lego City layout that we've ever had, and we cannot wait to build the custom zoo in the near future. Remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out here on our YouTube channel. And thank you so much for stopping by. Have yourselves a wonderful day.